Hi all, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time to read my blog. I really appreciate it. My name is Alessandra and I'm a Macaulay Honors student at Baruch College. I decided to make a Prezi on my endeavors at the American Folk Art Museum. This is the first of my art talk series, so I hope you enjoy it. What is folk art? Before I went to the museum, I honestly didn't know what it is, but after I did some research, I found out that it was produced by peasants or other laboring tradespeople. It was utilitarian in nature or decorative as opposed to aesthetic, which would be fine art. But just to clarify, folk art is definitely not fine art. It can be described as primitive self-taught art, working class, tribal, and naive art, which I'll explain more later. The proportion is not always accurate, again, because of the feeling of tribal and naive self-taught art, and it utilizes mixed media like metal, cloth, glass, silk, wood, clay, and other things you wouldn't really expect to find on a art piece. So this is the exterior of the American Folk Art Museum. It's located right across the street from the 1 train, 66th Street, Lincoln Center. The first piece that I really admired was a voodoo flag, and first of all, the thing that caught my eye was the beautiful embroidery. Looks like it took so long to make. It's a voodoo banner, and the artist is Merlane Constant. She was born 1968 in Haiti, and this piece was created in 2000, made out of sequins of beads on fabric. So a little bit about this artist. She worked at a wedding gown factory for 20 years, and there she learned and perfected meticulous beading skills with her mother. And by learning these skills, she actually helped to revitalize the Haitian tradition of voodoo flag making. And this artist was credited with innovating the use of solid, round, and cylindrical beads and creating religious, mystical, and political narratives that come alive. So this particular piece I would describe as a religious piece. On the bottom left-hand corner, you see a cross symbol. I'm not really sure what that means, but I'd love to find out. There's a figure in repose, and there are other figures that seem to be huddling around him. And this is an interesting section. Wonder what kind of message it's sending about ethnicities and races. Looks like a kind of mixture of light-skinned people, dark-skinned, tan, angels. On the upper right-hand corner you can see an angel, or a saint maybe. So I wonder what it's trying to say about secular versus like worldly and religious. So what really struck me is this big eye in the middle of a tree. Like, what is it doing there? What is it symbolic of? And again, the beading here is absolutely exquisite. You can kind of feel the texture of the tree through the myriads of shades of black tinted with blue, green. The gold in the background is gorgeous. I'd love to know what that eye means. This is another piece that I thought was quite interesting as well. First glance, it's a tree. I'm not really sure if there's a tree underneath it, but it definitely looks like it represents one. And the title is Button Tree. It was created by an artist called Gregory Mr. Imagination Wormack. He was born in 1948 and died this year, 2012. This was made in Chicago between the years of 1990 and 1992. It was created with wood and cement with buttons, bottle caps, and nails. So an interesting story about this artist is that he almost died after being shot in an attempted robbery in 1978. And miraculously, he survived, but he went into a coma. And this might actually be the climax of his artistic journey, because he experienced, I'm sorry I don't have the quote here, but he described it as calm, beautiful, entrancing. He saw apparitions of his subconscious, and it must have been a very interesting sight. So after he recovered from his coma, he devoted the rest of his life to making art. So a theme I want to explore here is second chances. What I believe the artist and this tree have in common is that they both had a second chance. This man, he could have died after being shot, but he survived. So I think that this tree might represent an autobiography of himself because, as you know, nothing lasts forever and trees die just like humans do. So I think, in my opinion, this looks like he might have taken the tree and frozen it in this particular moment. So it's kind of like eternal. So it doesn't die, it's immortal. And I think he adds another dimension to its life by coating it with beautiful multicolored buttons and pieces of nails and bottle caps. So I think it's quite beautiful. And it actually might be an allegorical piece. Because I can see a second chance here in this tree. He kind of brought it to life again. This piece I thought was actually quite interesting because at first glance it looks like a quilt. And the artist actually, she was actually initially drawn to quilt making, so it makes sense. But once you get closer, you can see that it's made of a very tough material, and in this case it's aluminum wrapped condoms with embroidery thread. And I was quite shocked that it was made of condoms because you wouldn't expect a quilt to be made of that, and I admire the artist for creating such a strong contrasting paradox. The artist is Joanna Levinson. She was born 1951 in New York City, and the piece was made in 1996. So, like I said before, she was initially drawn to quilt making, and her work is mostly conceptual, especially this piece. And what I admire about her is that she's interested in the paradox of using unorthodox materials in a generally female kind of art. So quilt making can generally be described as a female hand art, and it's quite contrasting to use these materials because a quilt that's made for a little boy, you wouldn't expect it to be made of aluminum and hard materials. So I wonder what she's trying to say about gender and sexuality. It brings up a lot of questions. And a personal question that I have is, what exactly is written on the aluminum pieces? There are etchings in there, but unfortunately my camera was not high quality enough. I just used my iPhone to take it. But I would like to know if there's a significance even to the words that are written there. And also, why did she choose red thread? Is she trying to say something about like strings attached versus no strings attached? Because red is generally associated with strong emotions, love, anger, desire. So there's the big picture. Kind of looks interesting, each piece together. So some questions I have for you is, what have you gathered from this? And about the naive art thing that it was described as, do you think it should be called naive art? How does geography and culture define a certain style? Remember the Haiti example. Which was your favorite piece? Please feel free to answer in a comment. And also, if you have any suggestions, please go right ahead and post it in a comment or private message. If you have any ideas about a future Prezi project, I would really love to know about any topic at all. And thank you very much for watching. These are some of the other pieces that I saw in the museum. Have a great day.